Yeah,
I'm living my life.
I mean, I had a good deal of pain,
But if I could do it twice.
my clothes still the only things I would change.
Hey, my clothes are still the only things I would change. And shout out to my homie Dalak Brathwaite, one of my really good friends. He's actually in town this weekend for our Linked Up Festival. But I love that song, and it's just dawned on me that it says, I've been living my life. I know I had a great deal of pain, but if I could do it twice, my clothes are still the only thing I would change. And it just so happens that I have a clothing brand, Righteous Kinda, merch with a mission. I'm rocking our beautiful, ugly Christmas sweater. This is a custom that you can only get through our membership. So if you're interested in that, let me know. All right, so we are here. It is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. It's December. We are in the first week of December. Christmas is in the air. And I just finished my November challenge. For those of you who tuned in last month, you heard that I did a challenge in October, a Sober October challenge, where I didn't drink alcohol for 30 days. It actually turned out to be more than 30 days. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But my challenge for November was to add something. So instead of taking something away, I was going to add something. And I decided to add running because in all my years of life, I don't think I've ever enjoyed running, just running for running's sake. I mean, when I was younger, I used to run because I got in trouble a lot. So I'd run away from things. I love playing basketball, and that's running, but it's a little bit different. Just to run, just bop, 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 just miles is crazy. And I learned a lot. I learned one thing is, this is, I think, funny. People who run, like runners, like those runners, they're psycho because they are literally just in their head. And I know this because I was a runner for a month. And you're just running and you're just convincing yourself that it doesn't hurt and just to keep going. And yes, there is a runner's high. There's no denying that the runner's high is real. But the act of running before you get to the runner's high happens when you're done. The act of running is crazy. Like, what are you doing except trying to suppress your demons? And that is a very real thing. So shout out to all my psychopath runners out there. So I ran 20 miles in the month of November, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Basically, I mapped it out. I was like, if I do X amount of miles every other day, spread it out over the month, then I'll be done and it'll be great. I started off really strong. The second week, I totally collapsed, and I literally was like, it's not that big of a deal. At that point, I still hadn't had a drink of alcohol, so I was kind of like, man, you're still winning. It's okay. But something in my brain and my heart just said no. Like, you're gonna do this. But the problem is now I only have 2 weeks to complete like 15 miles, and that was scary. But I just did it. I mean, I can't really say I just did the work. I got up, I put on my clothes, I went outside, and I ran. And I ran the first run that I had in the third week. I did 2 miles, which was at that point a mile, like damn near killed me. So I did 2 miles, and it definitely was tough. But after I was done, I was like, dang. Like, I feel great. And I actually journaled, and I'm going to read what I wrote in my journal that particular, after I was done running that 2 mile stretch. So this is November 20th, 2024. I just finished running my strongest session of this challenge. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I hate running. But after 20 days of challenging myself to run 20 miles in a month, I've grown to respect running. It is definitely a balance between physical and mental endurance. But after week and a half, I clearly was not riding well. I just ran 2 miles. Shut up. But after a week and a half, I noticed that my body is becoming more conditioned to running, but my mind still struggles. In the beginning, 1 mile seemed like a marathon, but I told myself that if I didn't run 1 mile without stopping to break, then it didn't count. So that motivated me to push through. Now I can get through the first mile with less resistance, and my heart tells me to keep pushing for two, but my mind seems to be satisfied with accomplishing the entry level mission of the task. I think there is something psychologically deep there that I will explore, but for now, I'm just going to enjoy this win. I am at 10 miles, which is behind where I should be at this time, but much further than I thought I would be after the second week. Food for thought, micro goals, and micro learning. I want to talk about that. Thank you to everyone who listened to my most recent podcast, and special thank you to those who've reached out. Oh, that was something different. I write notes. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that. But yes, so that's my journal. So food for thought, micro goals, and micro learning. Essentially, what I learned, just like in the first month, is that if you make the task accomplishable, right? Something small, a micro goal, and you complete that, it builds momentum. And that momentum inspires you to keep pushing. And then the goals just kind of get incrementally larger, right? So 1 mile turned into 2 miles, and that 2 miles turned into what happened to be my last week of running. I ran 10 miles in 1 week, and I did that by running 2.5 miles one day, 2.5 miles another day, and then 5 miles for my last run. And that is crazy to me, because if you would have asked me at the beginning of the month if I was going to accomplish this goal, I probably would have said yes. But in the way and the fashion that I did would have been crazy to me, because I could never think that I was going to run 5 miles. And what's even crazier is that I spent the week of Thanksgiving, which was the last week, in Texas with my family, my cousins. And at first I was like, oh, it's cool. I don't have anything to do. My son is going to be playing with his cousin, so I'll knock this running out. Texas, where my cousin lives, is a beautiful place, but it is full of hills. It's just country. It's just hills up and down, up and down. And so I was like, damn it, I got to run 10 miles in hills. And the first day that I did it, I ran 2 miles, 2.5 miles. And I was like, yeah, I'm good on that. I'm going to just chalk this one up. But that momentum, that micro goal, that 2.5 turned into another 2.5. And then the last day, I was just like, F it, let's go. Let's run 5 miles, finish strong. And that is what I did. And I'm very proud of myself. But I also learned that this isn't impossible. This is really just a psychological framework for how you can get out of your own way and challenge yourself and push yourself towards greatness, right? One of our slogans with Righteous Kinda is mediocrity is whack. Don't be whack. Just strive for greatness. And wherever you land on is going to be better than where you started, because you're pushing forward. So anyways, I don't want to be some motivational speaker, Tony Robbins type. Although I probably would love that Tony Robbins money, but I don't know. This isn't really about trying to motivate you all. It's really about trying to share my story in hopes that maybe you get something from it. I'm going to drink a little bit of hustle juice real quick. All right, it's green tea. Green tea is really good. So I did it. I ran my 20 miles. I also drank probably 2 bottles of bourbon when I was in Texas. Shout out to my cousin Colby, my cousin Mikey, my cousin Jason, my cousin Callie. She didn't really drink the bourbon, but I was just with my family, and apparently when you're in Texas, you drink bourbon. I'm a tequila guy, but we were drinking bourbon, and I did not feel bad about it at all, because I accomplished my goal. I didn't drink for 30 days. And the beautiful thing about drinking all that bourbon in Texas, when I got back home, I didn't have any alcohol at the house. And the first night I did want to drink, but I was like, nah, I'm good. My wife even told me, "What? Go get some tequila." I was like, you know what? No, I'm good. Because I had broke that habit, right? And man, I can't tell you how light I feel knowing that I have accomplished these two major goals. That started out as micro goals, small goals, one step in front of the other. But anyways, yes, I am back on the juice train. I will be drinking some bourbon tonight. It's Friday here right now, and I will be drinking some bourbon tonight because I want to celebrate. Because life is good, and it is the holiday times, and it is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. All right, so couple of things to wrap up this particular portion of the podcast. We are closing out the year 2024. Damn, that's crazy. It's going to be 2025. Man, I remember freaking 2000 was 25 years ago. I'm going to be 45 years old. That's a really beautiful thing because I feel great. I feel like a zaddy at 45. I'm stronger than I've ever been. I do got a little bit of a dad bod, but it's a strong dad bod. I'm just going to embrace it and make this the best year of my life. But we're closing out the year, so I want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to everybody who goes on this journey with me. It really does mean a lot just to be in community and to kind of build a community of like-minded people. That is why I started Righteous Kinda, was to build community through creativity and to be able to just find a place of expression that does good, right? And we've grown our brand. We've been consistent in the things that we do with clothing, the podcast, hosting community events, and then using the proceeds from our sales to be able to support the community, putting our money where our mouth is. And how it has evolved is we have a new kind of focal point with Righteous Kinda, and that is we are merch with a mission, right? We are what would be considered a social enterprise. Social enterprise is a business that uses its platform and its proceeds. That's the biggest thing. Its platform and its proceeds to do good in the community. And for those of you who don't know, I also am the founder of a community development corporation called CASA, which if you want to learn more about that, I invite you to visit casacdc.org. But essentially what CASA is it's community building. It's looking to collaborate with the community to just make the world a better place, make the community a better place, provide the resources that may be missing, things of that. Our big focus right now is financial literacy, because I think that without that, it's very difficult to build wealth. And if you don't have wealth to pass on to your kin, then you don't have generational wealth. And so we're really striving to build a financial opportunity center in the Garfield on the east side, where I was raised, east side Tommy. And that's our focus. How Righteous Kinda plays into that is merch with the mission, social enterprise. All of what we do at this point is going to be to support community development corporations. One of them is CASA. I'm just going to keep it real. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to promote Righteous Kinda as what it is, a social enterprise to build community. So thank you for supporting that. Those of you who do, those of you who don't care about, this is a real thing. Shout out to my homie, Deanna Resendiz. We talk about this a lot. I'm going to take a little more hustle juice. We talk a lot about how there are people in this world like myself and Deanna and a lot of the other crew who like doing good. There is a science behind generosity. We like doing good, right? Deanna just produced and published this beautiful anthology of stories from women from all different kinds of walks of life to just promote the voice of womanhood. And it's an amazing thing, and it's giving back to the community and things like that. And, not as many people are supporting it as I think they should. And we get frustrated because we want people to be like us, to be generous and to be like, yeah, I'm down with making a change. Look, the reality is most people don't really care about that. Some people do, and they don't have the resources. Some people say they do, and then their actions don't meet up with their words. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because I'm doing it because I want to. And that's why I try to make dope clothing, because it's like, I don't want you to just buy a shirt because it helps a kid in the hood. I want you to buy a shirt because it's a dope shirt. And it just so happens that shirt, supports a kid in the hood. And but anyways, that's what we're really going to be pushing forward. So what that looks like is continuing to produce events and to produce clothing that promotes the message of Righteous Kinda. But we're also going to create a membership program. And why this is important is because to be able to know in advance how much money, just being honest, that we can use to support the community makes it much easier to do our job with community development. And it's hard because you don't know how many sales you're going to get in a month, some months. And that part of entrepreneurship is fun. But for those of you who really want to buy into the mission of Righteous Kinda and what it does, there's going to be a membership option. We're still working out the details, but essentially what it's going to be like is you're going to get the exclusive drops, right? You're going to have an opportunity to collaborate with us. So it's like, hey, Tomas, I love your stuff, but I really want to make a shirt for my kids' football team. Can you help me with that? Absolutely, right? You get access to our creative team to be able to collaborate on your own designs. And then you just get consistency. So like every other month, you'll get a box of goodies that you get to choose what you want, right? And those goodies are only available to the members, right? And if you see it, you're like, yo, I really love that sweater, but I saw this one. How do I get that one? It's not on the website. Well, it's because you have to be a member. So anyway, stay tuned because that's the next version of what we're doing with Righteous Kinda in terms of the merch with the mission. So anyways, I love you all. I really do. And I don't say love in a cheesy, generic, cliche way, man. Love is doing the work, especially when you don't want to do it. And it is because of my family. It is because of my relationship with God. It is because my friends and people that I collaborate with, that I get up every day and try to be the best person that I can be. Because Lord knows it's not easy. It is not easy. Matter of fact, this was a really tough week for me, man. The first 2 days of this week, I almost said, fuck it, let's go back to Texas. Let's move to Texas because I don't really know what's going on in the bird city. But I hear Mercury's in retrograde. Whatever that is, but so we're going to close it out by just a really little cheesy story. So this morning, I was getting dressed and I was putting on socks. And socks used to just be socks. You just put them on. One foot, other foot. Blue fish, red fish, whatever. But they sell socks now that have like right and left on it. I don't know if you've ever experienced this. It happens a lot with athletic socks. And I forget sometimes. And this morning I was putting my socks on and I put my left sock on my right foot and I looked down and I said, shit. And it didn't feel any different. It never does. That's what's so confusing about the left and the right. It did not feel different. But in my brain, I was like, you cannot have the left sock on the right foot. And the other part of my brain said, if you do this, I'm going to cancel you. If you change this sock because of this, I'm canceling you. And so I didn't. So I'm walking around kind of backwards today. But what it made me think of is a poem that I wrote, actually, actually about putting on a pair of socks. It's from my book. Of those of you who may not know, I am an author. I self-published a book called Wolves Don't Perform in the Circus. And I'm going to read you this poem. I won't say the name of the person who inspired this poem because that's not fair. But I will say that the person who inspired this poem is a very important person in the legacy of my life. Matter of fact, that person taught me how to teach poetry, actually. And so shout out to you, person who is in the world doing something. It's called Yellow Paint. Today, I put on a pair of socks that had dried yellow paint on them, and it reminded me of the day you decided to paint our kitchen yellow. Bright as yellow. Today, I Googled the color yellow, and it said that yellow is the color of clarity and optimism. The color you see when spring gives birth to new life. It is a color that inspires hope. I understand now why you picked it. But I also remember that day and how hopeless it felt when you asked if I liked the color after you already bought it. You were never the impulsive one in our relationship. That was me. You were strategic and calculated. So it only made sense that this DIY weekend project was more symbolic of what was becoming of our relationship and how we weren't talking anymore. We weren't building together anymore. We were becoming no more. And I was so tired of fighting about it, I simply responded, yes, I love the color. I wish I had the courage to tell you what I really meant was, I love you. I love you more than these walls that you've barricaded your heart behind will ever allow me to. We started to paint. And I remember that day's to-do list and how you had given me all the hard jobs. You said it was because I was the man and I was supposed to be stronger than you. That my arms were longer than yours, so it only made sense that I paint the ceilings. And I paid more attention to the detail of things, so it was only logical that I paint the corners and all the baseboards. Like I said, I didn't have the heart to argue anymore, but I also could no longer ignore the writing on the walls that you were attempting to paint over, and how that day's to-do list reflected what had become of our relationship, and how I felt like you had been giving me all the hard jobs. Was that because I was the man and I was supposed to be stronger than you? And because my arms were longer than yours, it made more sense that I was the one always reaching out, and I clearly paid more attention to the details of things, so it was only logical that you were the only one that never had to guess. I wonder if you remember the days before yellow paint. How I would leave you love notes all around the house so you didn't have to wait for me to come home to hear the words, I love you. I stopped writing those love notes. I take responsibility for that. I know I was far from perfect and light years from blameless because in many ways I too learned how to barricade my heart just like you, but with you for the first time, I was willing to step outside of those fears and take the risk of falling face first. You know, that skydive type of love. That I can't believe I'm really about to do this shit type of love. Today, I put on a pair of socks that had dried specks of hope on them. It is said that yellow is the color that encourages us to hope, and I hope that your kitchen brings you peace. That you drink your coffee in the morning sun to the sound of Etta James just like before yellow paint. Because yellow is a beautiful color. A color that brings clarity and optimism, the color you see when spring gives birth to new life, and I hope that your new life is standing strong. On the rubble of those walls you learn to barricade your heart behind, because a wall will always be a wall, no matter what color you paint it. Damn. Aye, that's that piece. Anyways, that was deep. I won't go into details about that other than the poem says what it says. So thank you all so much for everything. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Please let me know if you have any questions, concerns. We do have an HR department. however, the HR department is also me. So, we'll work that out. But anyways, thank you so much. I hope you have a great holiday season. Stay righteous. Kinda.